Hi, I'm Angie Hilton and welcome to Unbreakable Entrepreneurs. As business owners, major challenges are inevitable. So how do we steel ourselves to weather the storms? Here, you'll find real-life stories of resilience, as well as tips from thought leaders and mental health experts on how to become unbreakable entrepreneurs. Roxie Bennett is an adored personality in Geelong. With an abundance of energy, she wears many hats, including Bay FM host, life coach, speaker, and presenter. Today, she shares with us her exciting new business venture, as well as the major life event that turned her world upside down throughout COVID. And welcome, Roxie.
It's so awesome to catch up, Angie. I'm really, it's great to see people, albeit over Zoom.
Absolutely. Now, you're always up to lots of different exciting things in this town. So can you tell us what's going on right now in your world?
Oh, okay. Well, there's lots going on. Probably the one thing that most people are aware of is the catch-up on Bay 93.9. It kicked off for 2022. Daryl and I will be doing what we do every afternoon from 3 till 7. So that's really exciting, and we're looking forward to, I guess, with the show this year, really tapping into just like the amazingness of our local community. And I know, Angie, you are all over that and you really appreciate how incredible this community is too. So we want to really showcase that. So that's sort of one thing. And then the other thing I'm doing from a work perspective, I've still got my little business, my little agency, Planet Roxie, that I've been running for 10 years. But I've really scaled that right back, and I'm only working with just a couple of clients now because I decided to go on board with one of my clients actually in a permanent capacity, a guy called Dave Collard, who is a local Geelong guy, but he happens to live in New York and has started a business, quite an extraordinary global business called Facilitation, whereby we are taking incredible Australian innovations and scaling them into the US, where we're hoping they will be really successful and we can be the conduit for making that happen. That's just one of the things we're involved with. So that's awesomely exciting. So there's kind of a snapshot of my work life.
Did that business start up during COVID or before?
Yeah, it looked amazingly. It did start up at the start of COVID, and it really came from Dave being in lockdown in New York in his apartment. He's got an apartment on Fifth Avenue, and he was just sitting there and just looking at the world go by. And I remember talking to him one time because we were friends prior to, him starting the business, where he essentially just sort of said, I'm just seeing all these ambulances going up and down Fifth Avenue, and it's like, Australia doesn't know what's going on. Like once this hits, you guys are going to be in real strife. And it was that was the impetus for him to sort of start off. So he kind of, from that point, got involved in providing PPE. Right in the beginning, he was selling sanitizer right across Australia through a company called Sanitix, and then that evolved into Sanitix Global, and had a big contract with the state government to provide masks. So this was all happening from his apartment in New York, and I was kind of following what was going on, and then we started working together, and there were only a couple of us at the start, and it's just sort of evolved. And now we've got a big office in Pivot City in North Geelong, part of the Glass House, part of Pivot City, and about to open a big office in New York as well, and also in Texas. So it's quite extraordinary to have been on this wild ride. And, some people might sort of say, oh, look, it's a startup, but we're not really a startup. We're just a go fast business that has really just ridden the pandemic wave and looked for opportunities that we could sort of assist other people, really. That's how it's really come about. So extraordinary stuff.
That really is. That's an extreme version of someone really succeeding through COVID, and you don't hear a whole lot of stories like that, do you?
Yes, you don't really hear those stories, and so I've been super busy pretty much all the way through COVID, and also with radio, we broadcast right through from the studio. Your radio is an essential service, and so we were there every day. And I think one of the things that was really important for me in both sort of my roles was really trying to bring a sense of calm and control to what was otherwise a really out of control situation. I think that Dave in New York has been really determined that what was happening in New York, he would do. It was almost like he was seeing it before we were seeing it. So he'd do whatever he could to help Australia deal with what was going on in a better way. I mean, even one of those things is something that we're super proud of in the company. It's a platform called VMS, and then we have another aspect of it called VMS Pro. It's vital monitoring system. It was developed in collaboration between Deakin University's AI department and also the emergency department at the Alfred Hospital, and they've developed this system that can help you just take your vital stats to give you a sense of whether you're well or not. And so it currently is being trialled on Samsung's new Galaxy 4 watch, or Galaxy Watch 4, I should say. And we're also utilising it. There are a number of health services like Goulburn Valley Health utilising it for all of their patients that they have at home with COVID, just to monitor them. So we were able to take this innovation and set up a platform for it and scale it. And that's an example. It's amazing.
Incredible. So when will we be able to access this? Or it's still in trial, is it?
Well, you can actually head to reopen.com, that platform, re-open, I think it's just reopen.com, and VMS is on there, and you can actually sign up for it. So a lot of businesses actually are looking at it to help stuff, and it's great with the issue around the RAT tests. This can actually tell you if you have any symptoms or if your temperature or your pulse, the oxygen in your bloodstream, it can check all of that for you and let you know if you are either, whether you're sick or you're not sick, essentially. So it'll give you, like, if you say you've got a cough, then it'll say, you need to check this out, kind of thing. But it's really quite amazing. It's extraordinary technology.
Incredible.
And developed right here in Australia. And so Samsung's trialling it, and then we'll roll it out worldwide. So it's really amazing.
Sounds like you are on a wave that's going to take you some big places, Roxie.
Well, look, and it sort of feels a bit like, it feels like that, but it doesn't, in that, Dave, he's just a Joey's boy. He, but has landed himself in New York about 10 years ago, went there with PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and from that became partner. In fact, the youngest partner of PwC in New York ever. So he's a pretty switched on guy, but he is an Aussie Geelong boy through and through. So that's why it was really important for him to have initially the global head office here in North Geelong. And then, we'll just be taking it to the world. It's really exciting.
Incredible. Will we get him back in town, do you think, or he'll stay?
Look, he's really hoping to get back in March, maybe, or April. He's really excited to get back. We've got a few big projects that we're working on that could be quite significant, and certainly quite significant for the Geelong region. I can't really say much more about it, but if they evolve in the way that it looks like they will, then he'll be absolutely coming back for those announcements, because that's super exciting, and that really is about recovery out of the pandemic and doing what we can to provide a platform for our great region, to really thrive. So that's on the cards. We'll tell you more about that when we can.
Well, we can't wait. Now, this podcast is all about resilience and how people have come through some tough times, normally in business, but your business is thriving. But I know in life you've been through some challenging big things. Would you share
Oh,
some?
look, absolutely. You know, Angie, I think, I honestly don't think you've been in business unless you've had some tough times. You know, it's when I started Planet Roxie, you know, my partner and I were in a really great place. He was doing exceptionally well from a business perspective, and we were, I suppose, you could consider us to be quite wealthy and quite, you know, like financially in a great place. So when I first started Planet Roxie, it was just, you know, booming and zooming, and it got very big very quickly. But with that, it became quite expensive to run, and I think a lot of businesses find that sometimes you grow too quickly and you think, oh, how can a business grow too quickly? But it absolutely can. And what it meant was that I found that I was suddenly a lot bigger than I thought I was, and trying to manage that financially and mentally, I guess, was really hard. And I was finding I was working 80, 100 hours a week just to keep the business going, even though I had all these employees. And I was taking home a minimal wage just so I could keep all the employees paid and the rent paid and all of that. And that sort of happened, but it was okay because my partner was doing quite well and he was sort of supporting the business. But then he became really unwell and suffered a significant health issue that then left us completely over a period of time, eventually completely stranded. And we basically lost everything. And then it was just me and my business that was keeping us afloat. And so I had to really think about how I ran the business, because it was going to be the thing that paid we lost our home, so it paid the rent, you know. And I had to sort of just strip the business back to the bare bones and realise what it was that people were wanting. And most of the time it was just me. They didn't, even though I had other staff, they didn't necessarily want to work with other staff. They wanted to work with me. And so I realised that as much as I loved having some wonderful employees, I actually couldn't afford to keep them anymore. And, you know, it meant that I had to just go out pretty much on my own, get rid of the office and go back to working out of my spare bedroom. And, you know, and the great thing was that then my business then just thrived in a whole other way. And I think I started to work smarter, and I was only managing myself, so I could be a lot more flexible. And I really picked myself up off my boots, you know, by my bootstraps, and just said, right, I've got to take this to the next level. And it was from that, it was almost like my business took on a whole new life, and I attracted some wonderful clients, like truly wonderful clients. And I guess that I'm probably more proud of the work I've done in the last 5 years than I have sort of starting the business even. Because I really think I've had an amazing impact on some great clients, and many of whom are members of the Chamber, in fact all of whom are, and who, you know, really I've helped in their success, and that in turn has helped in my success. So I think that, you know, everyone sort of won out of the process. And then really it was that mindset that then got me working with Dave. And then really I think he needed, maybe I needed to have a single focus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was in my business mode as opposed to sort of radio mode, which is, I know you, Angie, will understand this. You have a business mode and then you have a performance mode. They're two very different headspaces. And he needed my business mode to be totally focused on the business. I think the business needed that. And so that gave me the opportunity to I'm not going to use the word pivot, to jump into a new opportunity.
Yep.
So
amazing. So that sound, you've said it in such a relaxed way, but that must have been incredibly hard to go through all that. Did you have tools that you felt like you called on through those times that really got you through? Any advice you'd want to share with people that might be struggling at the moment?
look, I guess there were a couple of things, and I I don't want this to sound too flippant or too airy-fairy for people who are more facts and figures type people, but one thing I really trusted in myself. I thought, I can do this. I'm a strong person. I can do this. I can keep us afloat, and I can make this successful, and I can really thrive. I felt within myself I could. I'm also a believer a little bit in the universe sending us what we need when we need it. And I remember sitting when we found out that we'd kind of lost everything, and sitting in with the lawyers with my partner, and I said, look, I know this sounds crazy, but one day we'll look back on this and say it was the best thing that ever happened. They all did think I was crazy at that point. And they possibly still do. But part of me really believes it was, because it meant that we had to really reassess our life and reassess what was important to us. And I think that as a couple, we're in a much better place. And I think that in many ways we're a lot happier. I certainly think I am. I think it was very hard for my partner because he felt he'd lost everything. But it was his health that did what it did. And, you know, we just couldn't have done that any differently. I do have to say, when people say, you know, if you've got your health, you've got everything, that is so true. And ultimately it is. And as long as we could earn enough to get by, then we were going to be okay. And we have, and we did, and we are. And, you know, I think we've made some decisions we otherwise wouldn't have. We lived in a mansion in Newtown that cost a fortune to run, and now we live in a gorgeous little house in Clifton Springs that doesn't cost a fortune to run and is all that we need. And it's ours. We own it, and I love it. And I've got to say, this might seem again crazy, but for anyone who'd seen the mansion in Newtown, they wouldn't be able to quite understand this. But I love my little house in Clifton Springs 10 times more than I ever loved the mansion.
What is it about it, do you think, that makes you feel that way?
I think that it's, gee, I've never thought about that, Angie. Isn't that? Thank you for asking that question. Look, I think our little house is small, but it's just filled with love, and it's just enough room for us. And we look out over the beautiful bay and see the water every day, and I feel like it's a sense of, and maybe it's me, I feel like it's a sense of achievement that we went through all of this hardship and we were able to achieve that for ourselves. I think with the house in the mansion, it's a stunning property. It's just exquisite, and it's on, you know, it's beautiful on every level. But it was a big house with lots of big rooms, and, you know, there are lots of places where you didn't have to sit with each other.
Yes.
You know, you could kind of hide away. And I think it didn't bring a family together. This brings our little family together. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
absolutely. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I guess those trying times can do one of two things to a couple, but it sounds like it's brought you guys really close together, would you say?
Yeah, look, I think it has. I think it, look, it was tough, and I've never been one to be known to stay in a marriage. I have got a few exes, but look, I think it did. I think it really did, and I think it, you know, if you can get through a tough time like that, and you know, I think it really has. And I'm very positive about our future, and like as in a relationship, but also how we are working in our own business. And Gaz has his own little business now called One Old Fart. And
What is that all about?
he does. It's such a great. He came up with that name, and I can't believe it. I'm the marketing person, but he came up with that name, and it's great. He does gardening and odd jobs, and he, you know, maintenance and painting, and he's like this, you know, and which is great because he can manage that with his illness and with his health issues, and so he works when he feels great and he doesn't when he doesn't, and so it gives him a lot of independence, a lot of pride, and he's got a great bunch of clients. So if anyone needs anyone, head to Facebook and look for One Old Fart and hit Gary up. Look, he's, and it's interesting, there's a real gap in the market for somebody who's very handy, who can do things. Because everyone's so, like, all the builders are so busy, they don't want, carpenters are busy, they don't want to do small jobs. But I think the other thing too, because he's such a lovely guy, and he's a lot of, interesting enough, a lot of older women, a lot of women on their own have thought him that it's great having him just come and do the stuff for them. They don't have hubbies to do it for them, so he just does it.
Why use hire a hubby when you can get one old fart?
Well, you can just get one old fart to come in and do it. So, realistically, he could just be sitting at home and doing whatever, but it's his little business, and it's just awesome. And I think that shows resilience as well. And he was the owner and managing director of a multi-million-dollar company, and has been at the height of the height, and highly respected, even worldwide, in what he was working in. And then now he runs this wonderful little business, and the people adore him. The people who he does work for adore him. I keep telling him, you've got to put your prices up. Yeah. And he's like, no, it's all right. It's all right. Oh, she can't afford that. And I'm like, oh, for God's sake. But anyway, but he's just lovely.
Would you say that from seeing him go through everything, would you say he's happier than he's ever been?
Oh, gee. I don't know that he would say that. Yeah. I think, when you lose everything, it's very hard. I think he blames himself too. But the fact is that you can't foresee, and if there's any advice I would give, you don't know what's around the corner. You can't foresee a health issue that's going to cripple your business, because too often I think we are the lifeblood of our business, and if the head person isn't there to do it, then there's no one else to do it. So maybe have a strategy in place and a plan in place for that. I think is really important. I think we are very happy, and he takes an enormous amount of pride in what he does, and I think that's a really wonderful thing. But I think we're in a good place.
Now, you're a wise woman who's been through many things and always got great advice to share. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
Do you know what? I think over the past few years, a couple of things have been really important. I've really changed my approach to health and well-being. I think that one thing I would say, get good gut health. Do what you can to have good gut health. And you think, oh yeah, what's that going to do? But it really has changed my whole, my energy levels and everything. Look after your body and look after your brain and look after your happiness, and have some faith in yourself and maybe in the universe. And the other thing I would say too is that don't live in the bad moments. Keep moving forward, because I think if we dwell on those things that we can't control that have happened in the past, we can't change that. But if we do try and just pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off and look to the future, that will give us the energy that we need to try and make things better for ourselves.
Amazing. And what's on the horizon? Anything exciting that you can share with us for you personally?
Oh, look, wow. One thing that is happening this year that I'm really excited about is that my beautiful brother and sister-in-law own a property down in the Otways, and we are putting a little cabin down there so that we can just head to the bush whenever we need that brain escape. And even just 24 hours in the bush is like a week away, I reckon. So I think, I think that's really important, to try and find that kind of time and that peace. I just want to see this year. This year will be a really great, exciting year for the radio station. I think it's been so tough the past few years for all businesses in Geelong, and we've been sort of working really hard to support as many businesses as possible. So I'm really hopeful that everyone will start to flourish. I have a sense that everyone's going to start to flourish. I think we will. And with my role with Scale Facilitation, I'm hoping I'll stop feeling that imposter syndrome and start believing what my wonderful managing director believes, and that I'm a great asset. Well, and I think, despite everything, we still have it, don't we?
Amazing, yeah. Well, everything I've ever watched you do from afar, it seems like you're always kicking goals. So it's amazing and inspiring. And can you tell us finally, what do you love about being a member of the Chamber?
Do you know what? I think the Chamber, I was a director for a number of years, and what I really loved is that it gives you a sense of community amongst businesses, and particularly when you're a business owner and on your own in business. It was awesome to have that community and that connection. My sense really was that if you were a part of the Chamber, you're actually a part of something bigger, and you were given a voice that you would otherwise not have. And the power of the Chamber, that's what it is. It's one of the strongest chambers in Australia, and we should be really proud of that. And I think that the representation that they have for small business in particular is wonderful. The other thing that was awesome about it is that the variety of business that you have exposure to meant that for me in my business, I was always able to work with other companies that were much bigger than mine, who I had met through the Chamber. So that networking ability was really powerful as well. So I think that's where the power is.
Fantastic. I agree with everything you're saying. I love working there. The great people. Everyone should get on board with the Chamber, shouldn't they?
Absolutely. And I love that you're involved, Angie. And just for me to say to you, I also love the way that you have this incredible capacity to bring such vibrancy and light to everything you do. And I think the value that you bring to the Chamber is huge, and that excites me.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it coming from you. My God. So anyway, great chatting to you. I know you're a busy lady and your time is precious, so we'll leave it there. But yeah, keep us informed with everything you're doing, because can't wait to see and hear about those secret plans that you've got coming soon.
Yes, that will be exciting, and we will definitely let you know about that.
Amazing. Thanks, Roxie. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Angie.
I'm Angie Hilton, and thanks for listening to Unbreakable Entrepreneurs Podcast. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe and head to geelongchamber.com.au for more wellbeing tips. This has been brought to you by the Geelong Chamber of Commerce and the Partners in Wellbeing program.